Hi, I'm Gabriella Richardson, and I am a lover of learning. I am a cultivator of community, and I am a seeker of belonging. I am a messy and imperfect human, just trying to do my best to make this world a little bit of a better place. So I look forward to you joining me in that pursuit on the Nexus of Narratives.
Punches. We get to the roots.
We get into the good stuff. Yeah, that's what makes it fantastic, and why we get to have so much time with this.
Yeah.
So to kind of lead into our part two for people who are listening, if they didn't listen to part one, listen to part one.
Yeah.
And going into this, as you were talking, I thought of a story from my life to kind of just set us off on this part two. So my uncle, his name was Kevin. He took his own life when I was a teenager, and he was a father figure to me as well. And he was 6'10", over 300 pounds. He was bald, full sleeve tattoos. Every time he would get a tattoo, he'd come and be like, "Hey, Gabby, look, but don't tell my mom." And he'd show me whatever thing he managed to fit between the other tattoos. And and upon looking at him, you'd be like, whoa, this guy can mess things up. He looked like he could have been in a biker gang. And he had this 100th anniversary Harley, all of the chrome upgrades that he possibly could, cleaned it with Q-tips, like immaculate shape. And the type of person that you look at and make all of the judgments about. But the softest, sweetest, most caring person, collected Beanie Babies, not at all what he appeared to be. There was that side of him, but just so multidimensional. And I had shared with you how at one point, growing up in Las Vegas, he had decided he painted his house this desert pink color. And someone had come up, pulling his leg, giving him a really hard time of, "Oh, you big man, paint your house pink." And he just towers over this guy. He's like, "Yeah, I'll paint my house pink and I'm a man." And this dude goes off kind of scared, and he just turns to me and just thought it was so funny how he could play with that. And so there were parts of what you were sharing in our earlier conversation that had reminded me of this appears in one way.
Yeah.
But is so much more complex and so much softer and so much sweeter and kinder than that. So it's so cool for me to interact with more people like that, because it just reminds me of this warm and tender part of my heart of someone I cared so deeply about. To share those characteristics is just such a delight. So
that's awesome.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Yeah, I almost want to. I'm thinking, wonder what side of town he was on if I saw that, because I feel like I saw pink houses when I lived there.
Oh yeah, so he was off of Lake Mead and Hollywood area.
Okay, that was never. Oh, I used to deliver for the school district there and other jobs. So that city I know the back of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there might have been a time I drove by a pink house and said, "Oh, that's the one." So yeah, I remember there was a school that was right there off of Lake Mead in Hollywood. I can't remember the name of it, but there was 314 schools at the time in Clark County. So it was.
Clark County is huge.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. That's weird. When I moved to Denver, it was I think there's 5 counties in one city. That's so strange. It's
mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Vegas it was one county,
mm-hmm.
and it was the whole city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And outside of it. But yeah, that's funny because I was telling you that I drive a 62 Coupe de Ville, same thing, big gangster car, and got my shades on, it's loud exhaust, all that funny stuff. And at home I've got my my Creature from the Black Lagoon figure, my Star Wars, my Godzilla, and my toys, and yeah, it's the same thing. It's I am not who you see. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is just the perfect theme to your story, and what people listening or watching can take from it is there's so much more that lies beyond the surface. And it sounds like such an elementary term to be don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
But people still do it. Also, you get from people, oh, well, I didn't expect you to be like this looking at you. It's so natural for people to do it. And especially, I hope people listening can really, truly receive that invitation to say it's not that simple. People are not that simple.
Well, how many times have you flown and you strike a conversation with the person you're with on the plane? And I have had some of the best conversations on airplanes. And one of them started off as an argument. It was like, there you go. It was like I was trying to put my bag above and his laptop was up there. And it was this old man and he was like, excuse me, would you please not break my laptop? And I was like, I'm not going to break your laptop, bro. It's all good. It's like, I got this. And my bag was a little bit big, so I was having a hard time getting it in there. And I look at the flight attendant and she's just watching me and I was like, could you please help? I'm like, I can't. And she was like, finally like, okay, I'll move this stuff. And she got it in there and he was like, I have a feeling you're going to break my laptop. And he just started getting really mad at me. And I started getting a little heated too. I was like, I'm not going to break your laptop, man. And then we sit next to each other and immediately I said, hey, by the way, my name's Jonny. I apologize if you thought I was going to break your laptop. We got a couple hours to be next to each other. I don't want to start it off like this. And he said, yeah, I'm sorry too. I didn't mean to, and then it just it broke down. Well, then come to find out that he's just flying home from somewhere else that he just had to put his wife to rest. And they had all these plans and he, showed me pictures and told me, if you and your wife have plans, just do it. Don't wait. Don't make plans to do it after you're retired. Don't do this. Just do it because you never know. And ended up, there you go. The prejudging. And like, he probably thought this punk ass tattooed guy is thinking he's going to break his stuff and this and that. And I'm like this grumpy old man, blah, blah, blah. And then it just was totally different. Once you peel the surface and you see underneath, it's like, I don't understand what you're going through, but it makes sense now. Totally makes sense why you're pissed off, and you got every right to be. So, and ended up giving him a hug when I got off that plane, and he stayed on the plane because I was getting off, and he was staying to go somewhere else. And I was like, hey man, it was a pleasure meeting you. And I shook his hand, and he's like, get over here, and he gave me a hug, and I was just like, yeah. So now it just takes a little bit of effort to get past that. I've sat next to people that I found out were in movies, that I found out worked or did professional sports, and it's just like it was just the person sitting next to you, and I decided to open my mouth, and that's all it took.
It speaks to like something amazing happens when you're able to just lower those defenses a little bit and invite other people in, because it would have been so much easier in a way for you to just be like, this guy sucks. He shouldn't have put his computer up there. There's a pocket in the back of the seat to put your computer in. Yeah. You dingbat. That would have been so easy. But then also it would have carried all of this negative energy for you. But instead to take that extra step and be like, you know what? I'm actually going to open my heart to this person. What an amazing thing came out of that.
Right. Yeah. And I still remember where he was moving to. He had plans to go live near the ocean, and where he and his wife wanted to go originally, and he was still going to carry the plan out and do it. And I was just like, you have fun. Boca Chica was the name of the place. I still remember. And I said, you have fun in Boca Chica, man, and make the best of it, okay? And he was like, I'm going to. And that was it. And he was just like, it was a pleasure meeting you, Jonny.
So you met the main character from the movie Up. Is what you're telling me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Everybody thought he was just this grumpy old man, but he missed his wife, Yeah, how crazy. Yeah. So if we ever see on the news that in Boca Chica, Texas, that a house is lifting up, we'll know who it is. But yeah, man, it's super cool to change the day of what today started as opposed to what I can turn it into, and it is hard sometimes. There's times where I'll sit in it for a day or two where I'm just like, I'm not in the mood to be open with people right now. I don't want to be open with anybody right now. And I just feel like there's that inner voice now that just says, but it's going to be better. So just do it, take the step, do it. you know, even if it's getting up and leaving the room and clearing your head, you know, and just knowing you'll be back as with a different attitude. That means a lot to me now.
That's beautiful. So I'm going to ask you the same questions that I ask everyone, is how can your story create connection for others who might resonate with some pieces of what you shared?
So I had a good friend, I still do, that worked at a high school, a local high school in Nevada, and she said, she knew all about me, and she said, I'm teaching a class, and it was like an acronym, and I can't remember what it stood for, but it was basically the kids that were on their way out the door, that were over it, being raised by grandparents or aunt and uncle, parents were in jail, dead, on drugs, and they were just on their way out the door, constantly in trouble. She said, I have a feeling that your story might make an impact on some of these kids. And so I have no problem standing in front of people and talking and just being myself. And I talked to these kids, and there was something about me. We're talking about the way we look, and your uncle and myself. They listened to the tattoo guy. They were sick of listening to the person that was court ordered to tell them they need to change. They were sick of this. I told them a story that actually made sense to me. I said, do you know that after Columbine happened, they blamed Marilyn Manson for it because that's the music that they listened to. When they interviewed Marilyn Manson, they said, what would you tell those kids if you had a chance to talk to them now? And he said, I wouldn't tell them a thing. I'd listen to them because no one else ever did. Oh. And so I told them that, and I said, that's what I'm here for today. What do you guys got for me? If you guys are waiting for this world to give you back what you feel that it took from you, I have bad news for you. It's never going to. It doesn't owe you shit. Your life will change when you're ready to change it because you're the one with power. If you're trying to get back at somebody, you already did, and now you're getting back at yourself. So it's time to change it. It's time to move it or leave it where it's at. Just know that you're the root, and you're the solution, and you're the cause. So it's up to you what you want to take with what I have to say. And this is my story, and this is how it happened when I was your age, sitting in school, and this is what I did with it. It took a while, and I went down some pretty shitty paths to get to this one, but this is where I'm at now. And I asked her, the teacher of the class, I said, I don't know if they were listening. They were all quiet. And she said, that means they were listening. She said, you can tell when they're not listening. They're talking, they're side talking. They're like, oh, this guy's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And they all listened to me. They gave me a book, and they all signed it and said, thank you. And to this day, I don't know where they all are, what happened. I do feel like the most important for me to tell them was just to remind them that they were in charge of their life. You have the power, I have the power to change it. Nobody else does. And if you're waiting for someone to do it, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So the world doesn't owe you anything. Get out and do it. That's my message of hopefully what people can take from it. Because seriously, I'm living proof that I turned it around, and didn't get into too much detail with everything because that's not necessary. And I think we talked about that. We talked about that earlier about how I'm not proud of the things I did, and I'm not bragging anymore. I went for many years where I bragged about the stuff I got away with, and I'm like, I don't want people to know that part. I want them to know the person they met, and that shows growth. To me, that shows huge growth. It's like, this is who I am. This is, when I hear people comparing stories of I did this and I did that, now I'm just like, man, it's pretty bad. And I don't say anything. I'm just like, wow, hopefully you learned a lesson from that. Yeah. And I'm not trying to have a pissing contest with anybody anymore.
Which in and of itself is powerful too, to be like, I'm not even going to participate.
Yeah.
And I think it also speaks to, I don't want people to judge me based on the bad things that I've done. I want people to know who I am, and this authentic and aligned person who stands in front of you that has the wife and the family that's saying, you're a wonderful man, you're loving, you're open, you're vulnerable, you're a great person. Like, that's who I am. I'm not these bad things that I did when I was in a bad place. Like, none of us show up as our best selves when we're in a bad place and bad things are happening around us.
Right.
And I don't believe any of us should be judged based on that. So I think what you shared is a perfect testament to that.
Awesome. It's definitely one of those. It's something that I like to say is everyone's capable of doing good. Everyone's capable of doing bad. It's their attitude is where they're at. So when I hear someone say, "Oh, that person is an asshole," or "that person's a piece of shit," it's like, not necessarily. They might be just in a really bad spot right now. Mm-hmm. They might be acting off of their attitude of where they're letting that guide them, and they haven't stepped up and changed it. They might be a really good person. You have no idea. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's really easy to do that though. Mm-hmm. Or this restaurant sucks. How do you know? Because my friend told me. You know, have you eaten there? No, but I heard it sucks, so I'm not going to. Well, how do you know? You didn't experience it. Mm-hmm. You're making a judgment off of what you heard. Mm-hmm. Just like you're making a judgment off of someone of what you just saw. You never know. Mm-hmm. We all have every right to be pissed off. Mm-hmm. When something's not going our way, it's how we decide to react to it. Yeah, and if we want to try to drag others down with us, that's definitely a decision. But I personally feel like I don't judge people off of right now of what I just saw or what I just experienced, because it's not them. Mm-hmm. That person is got every capability to be a wonderful person, and many of us are. Mm-hmm. There's some of us that have let things get the better of us, absolutely. And I wish them well. I hope they figure it out. I really do. Mm-hmm. And I hope they don't take anyone with them, Yeah. So. Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to continue this conversation in just a moment.
Check it out. Yeah.
I am so grateful that you have chosen to spend your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I know that time is our most invaluable resource, and I am grateful for your support by just listening. If you would like to further support the podcast and my continued work in this space, please go to www.nexusofnarratives.org. That is NEXUSOFNARRATIVES.org for more content, ways to support, and connect with others. The Nexus of Narratives is a passion project of mine in the Nexus Impact. So if you are looking for coaching services to become the type of leader that others want to follow, or help improve the culture and engagement of your teams, your organizations, and build greater community to help reduce lost costs due to turnover and inefficiency, reach out to me. I would love to help support you in your work. And if that is the avenue that you would like to go, you can find me and connect on my website. That is thenexusimpact.com or THENEXUSIMPACT.com. Thank you.
Well, and so for people who've been listening to you and can relate to some pieces still on the topic of who can feel some kind of relation, is what might you have said to your past self if you're speaking directly to that?
It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You're doing a great job. You're doing you, and you're doing just fine, and you're doing enough. Just keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Definitely that 11-year-old kid, I would tell him. I've done exercises where I've talked to him, and talked to me, and it's pretty cool to go into like a meditative state and look eye to eye with that kid of like, you have no idea what's about to happen, but you'll be just fine. I got you. Mm-hmm. I got you on this journey, bro. We're good. And I think that's a very important thing to tell anybody, like that you're doing enough. You're doing just fine, and do all of us feel like we could do more? Absolutely. But pushing that boundary of your mental health, you have to stop and take a break and realize it's just stuff. It's just things. Take care of you.
Yeah.
It'll be there. It'll be there for you. You'll be okay.
I'm hearing a little bit of self-compassion.
Yeah.
Generosity. Like that's the theme I'm hearing. And I think anyone can go back and talk to themselves in a different state and just sit, find a peaceful place and just talk to yourself with that compassion and that love to say, it's okay. You're doing just fine. That sounds so powerful that anyone can practice at any moment. It sounds like it only takes a couple of minutes.
Right. Yeah. And it's something that you can tell anybody that you're doing just fine. And I've heard it even where I work, people thinking that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting into the tattoo industry and I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm not doing enough. And I feel like I suck. It's like, well, you can't learn this overnight. You're just starting. You're doing just fine. And the fact that you have doubts about yourself, that's proof that you're doing enough because you're getting out of your comfort zone. That's what it's all about, is getting out of that zone of, I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life and I'll be just fine. Is that what you really want to do? No, but I'm afraid to try something new because I might suck at it. Well, it might
be hard.
You probably will suck at it. It's okay. I look at the first tattoo I did. I actually just saw it yesterday. As a matter of fact, my brother flew in from Vegas and he was showing people I worked with, this was his first tattoo. He did this in like 97, 98. And I was just like, don't look at that. Like, please don't. It's actually not that bad, but it's not that good either. So it's definitely signs of, I kept going. I kept going. And now I look at my stuff like it's awesome. It's like, I'm not the best. I never will be. There's no such thing. And as long as I know that I've always got room for growth, that I'm always learning off of other people. I don't know everything. And things change daily in every industry. And just keep your mind open and keep going. You're doing enough. I'm doing enough. It's good. I'm consistent. When people sit down and get a tattoo with me, they're also getting me. And that's enough right there. It's like, if you want to sit and bullshit with me and talk, like, I'll get serious with you. I'm not going to just, tell you these meaningless stories and stuff. It's like, when somebody comes in and they have something to say and I can tell it is hard to talk about, I'll give them a second. I will listen to them, let them get it out and let them know I'm listening. Trust me, I'm listening, but keep going. You got a lot coming out right now. And like I said, it's a vulnerable, it's a state that people, I don't know if it's the combination of just sharing your feelings and the pain when they're getting it, if it just triggers something. But I've heard stories where I'm just like, holy shit, man. I remember I tattooed a prison guard and he was telling me about his childhood and it was disturbing as hell. And I was just like, oh my God, what do you say to that? What do you say to somebody that went through this? But he has figured out how to do his job and treat prisoners with compassion and be a good person after everything that he went through. And it's just like, you won, man. You've done it. You've flipped the cycle. That is so cool to see that happen.
That's amazing. And so many opportunities for us to flip our cycles and to celebrate those no matter where someone is, no matter what they've done. You're like, wow, look at all you've accomplished. That's amazing. And that will always be enough. In this world where so many of us are just constantly feeling like we're not enough, we're not doing enough, we're not saying enough. It's so important to have that. That's so amazing. So along this vein, I feel like you may have already said it, is this compassion, this connection, this feeling like enough. What did you need the most to feel connected to people around you during these different phases of your life, whether they were the same or different?
Being told that I was doing a good job, being told that I was a good person, being told that I was enough. Yeah, because that actually comes up with my wife. When we met, we did an exercise where we were able to lay on the table everything that we wanted out of a relationship. And I said that. I said, to me, giving is being told that I'm doing enough, that I'm doing a good job, that I'm a good husband, that I'm a good father, being told these things, being cuddled on the couch with a blanket, those types of things are what I want out of a relationship. That means the most, because I have seen the polar opposite of it. I've been told you're not doing enough. I was married before. I was told you're not doing enough. You don't make enough money. You're not doing a good job, all of it. And you need to work harder. You need to do more. And being told that, for me, with already that self-doubt, was pulverizing. And when I saw that it was gone and it was over with, I was able to start anew. This is what I don't ever want to hear again. I don't ever want to hear it. And she was open with me too. She said, I don't ever want to be physically hurt or punched or cheated on. And so to this day, I gave her my word. I will never physically harm you. I will never cheat on you. That is what she asked for. That's what she's getting. And she deserves it. And she had the courage to say, this is what I don't want. And that's what she got. And I feel like the best way to start a relationship is like, this is where I come from. This is what I don't want anymore. This is what I do want. This is what I deserve, because I'm worth it. And starting a relationship out like that, I can't think of any better way to do it, is to be honest with each other from the get-go, instead of putting on a front.
And whether it's romantic or not, to be authentic and upfront like that, so valuable. Yeah. Because I think even in friendships, people don't feel comfortable being like, well, this is how I show up as a person. And this is what I'm like when I'm at my best. This is what I need from a friend. And like, I don't think we practice that really enough. I mean, I know I haven't. And when I started doing that, I noticed a big change in the people around me, how they showed up, or the people that chose not to.
Right.
I'm just like, meh.
Yeah, if they stay away from you, it's not you. Yeah. It's them. You might have reminded them of something that they don't want to deal with right now, and that's cool. It's totally cool. It's like where I'm at now. I've talked to somebody that was dealing with some problems, opening a business, whatnot, and I just asked the questions of, do you want to see this succeed? Yeah. Do you want to see your family succeed? Yeah. Are you worth it? Yeah. There you go. There's your why. You can take that and move with it. And I feel that when I speak like that to some people, they don't understand where I'm coming from, because they're not used to friends that talk to them like that. Like, I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to be me, which has helped me. And if I am not for you, that's okay. That's cool. But I'm going to keep being me. Yeah. And
it's the same thing that I tell people as coaching clients is, I am going to show up how I'm going to show up. This is who I am. This is how I show up for people. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay. Then let's not work together. Right. Like, not everybody is for everybody, and that is okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, and we can carry on. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yep. So for people who might be watching or listening that cannot at all relate to anything that you said, which I feel like would be far-fetched, but for those who cannot relate, what would you say to them? How can they create connection using your story for people who have different perceptions and experiences?
Well, hopefully they didn't turn the channel. But I would say, for me, what's worked the most is just telling myself that I love myself. Telling myself what I want and what I want to accomplish. And just being more, in tune with with me, being in alignment with me. If this is helping at all, no matter how foolish you think it might look, no matter, like I said, dance like everybody's watching, like be you, and you really might start noticing a change in the people you attract. You will notice a difference, because if all you're attracting is people to justify your actions, good or bad, that's not what you need. That's not what I needed. I needed somebody to tell me, I needed friends to tell me what I was capable of. When I went off from being a business partner into owning my own shop, I was actually going to have a meeting with the partners that I was leaving. And they called it was an LLC, so they were going to, I believe, vote me out of the shop. I knew it was happening because I just wasn't vibing with them anymore. And I was driving back to the shop with a friend, and I said, I have a feeling they're going to vote me out as being the owner of this shop, that they want me to sell out and get. And he said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I said, I'd go open my own shop. And he said, well, I'm glad you can see that. What are you waiting for? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I was wondering when you were going to do this on your own. And it just made sense. It's like the universe aligned things for me to make that decision, because that's what I really wanted. Mm-hmm. And when I did it, I was able to do things however I felt I wanted to do, mm-hmm. and bring myself to a shop instead of clashing with everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, let's try it like this. No, it's a bad idea. Let's do this. Nope, it's a bad idea. Let's do it like this because this, and this, and just, compromising over things instead of like, no, I'm going to show people what I'm all about and mm-hmm. what I like to be like and what I feel a shop should be. When you walk into it, this is what it should feel like, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And it worked. Mm-hmm. Shop went 12 years successful. Mm-hmm. Ended up on national TV, international TV, magazines. It was huge for me, and it was proof that I was being myself and I was getting what I wanted. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So the overall lesson is stay true to yourself, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Have compassion.
Yep.
Say nice things to yourself.
Yeah.
and others.
And there might be people that tell you that you're being an idiot for talking to yourself like that. And that it's, don't be all weird. Don't be blah, blah, blah. And it might be your closest friend. Just pay attention to how people talk to you. Are they lifting you up? Or are they pushing you down? Mm. Think about it. And if you see it, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's like, damn, I can't believe this person is sabotaging me, mm-hmm. is trying to wants to see me fail. And then remember that person, it is not about you, it's about them. Mm-hmm. They do what they're doing because of their operating system, of mm-hmm. what they believe life should be like, because what they were taught, what they were told as a person, as a kid, that stuck to them. And since it stuck to them, that's the way it is until they feel that they deserve better, or they feel that they can change that pattern. It's not going to. They have to do some serious work. Mm-hmm. And that's not up to you. That's not your job. So mm-hmm. move on.
Yeah.
Might be hard as hell. It might be one of the hardest things you've ever had to do. It'll be good though.
Absolutely.
There's greener grass.
Mm-hmm. There's actually science behind that.
Yeah.
And talking about how people are socialized into different beliefs and different views. And in order to break out of creating that cycle, we talk about breaking the chain, changing the cycle, but that cycle of developing beliefs as people, what we're exposed to, and then usually there's moments where we have to choose, am I going to educate myself on something else and create a new cycle, or am I going to stay within this cycle and keep this cycle repeating for future generations? It's exactly that person has to make that decision. Because often if someone comes up to you and they're like, well, you're wrong, you need to change this, and it's like, armor, no, I'm not going to. Like, we need to teach ourselves those lessons. And it's, I think, an invitation for other people to also be compassionate to themselves and other people, to say it's their lesson to learn. I'm not here to force it upon them. And like how you were speaking about just opening your heart in the airplane, and inviting that person in, and what a beautiful thing came out of that. And at a moment you'd shared, it's not up to me to tell other people what to believe. It's not up to me to tell anybody else how to parent or how to show up, even though I might believe something else. It's up to everybody to grow and evolve when they're ready, that we can't force that on them. And that is so hard for me, because sometimes I see it too and I'm like, oh, if only you knew. If only you knew. If I just, then maybe will it help? And it doesn't.
No,
it never does.
Because some of these people are our closest friends, and they're doing it different than we are, being parenting or whatnot, and it's okay. Yeah. There's no right answer of how to do stuff. Now, are there things that are pretty influential on kids that could probably make a better decision later in life? Absolutely. But that's not my place to tell them about it. I mean, sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll say, hey, I've told people, I've taught my son that boys should cry. It's okay to cry, because you are going to implode if you hold everything in. There's people that have never seen their parents cry. Many people, they've never seen it because their parents believed that don't ever let your kids see this part of you. But it's just like laughing. It's an emotion. It's just like laughing. People see you laugh. People should see you cry. And it's so crazy what a stigma it's got to not show that side of you. And you see it, I see it every single day. Yeah. I see people that are just bitter. We all see it. And it's like, God, can you imagine if this person just sat down and told somebody, this is what happened to me when I was a kid, this is what happened to me when I grew up, and this is when I decided to make these decisions in my life, and let it out, what that could do. Gosh, it could change this world, and it needs change for sure. Yeah. In any way, shape, or form. People are arguing over the most, I feel, ridiculous things. People getting mad at a whole group of people for buying a different kind of car. And it's like, it's just a car, man. They wanted to try something different. It's okay. It's not the one you drive. It's okay. It's not hurting you.
Exactly. If only so many more people would look at things like that. What if we opened up our hearts and spaces? What if we listened, created a space for people to feel comfortable sharing their story and sharing vulnerability, and didn't make judgments off of things that don't matter, to take that moment. Arguing over a type of a car, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter. Yeah. And being able to just set whatever part of ourselves aside in that moment. Yeah. And just. Yep. What a world we would have.
Much different. And it seems like an uphill battle for sure. It seems so difficult to see a change, because, I feel like we're constantly just getting shoved in our faces of what's wrong. This is what's happening in this country. This is what's happening here. This is what's happening here. It doesn't get ratings, and it doesn't sell when they show something positive. So why should they? We want to be the best news company out there. So we're going to show everybody, all these people that just died or got killed in a genocide. It's like, man, if they've got more power, I think, than they know. It's like, if you guys showed positive stuff every day, you might actually get some people to turn their TV off. I'm sick of watching this. I'm going to go for a walk. Okay, that's actually really good for you.
Great, go outside.
Go outside.
It's too much good for you? Yeah, dang it.
Go smell some air. Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny, because I'm just now remembering from the first part of our conversation, when I said I'm going to come back to this, I just remembered it. I heard a podcast of a celebrity that said, the host said, did you have any idea you were going to be as big as you are and as popular, and that everything you touched turned to gold? And he said, you know what? I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going day by day. And I still don't know what I'm doing. And I thought that was one of the coolest things to hear, because a person like me heard that and said, I'm the same way. Well, I feel better now because I don't have a plan for everything. I'm just going with the flow, you know, and I just remember that. That's why I'm going back to that. And I don't know if it has any relevance of where we're at now, but yeah, I do that sometimes. I'll be in the middle of a conversation and be like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me reverse 25 minutes ago.
No, I think that's perfect. I think it fits perfectly. It's a beautiful cherry on top is this theme of it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always grew, oh, maybe when I'm this old, I'll figure it out. Maybe when I'm 30, I'll know what I'm doing. Maybe when I'm actually a parent, I'll know what I'm doing. And it's like, no, never know what I'm doing.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be in February, I'll be 48. And I still hear my kids say that I'm 8, 10 mentally. And I'm like, dude, I like that. I'm glad. I don't ever want to say to anyone I'm getting old. I don't ever want to hear those words come out of my mouth. I want to, I'm still a 10-year-old kid, man, that's, still having fun doing what I'm doing and learning every day. And yeah.
And if that's what everyone gets out of this by listening and watching, then what a beautiful lesson it would be to just keep your mind and your heart open, play,
be
learn.
A kid. Yeah. Seriously.
And growing up is overrated. We're all still figuring it out anyways.
Yeah.
Might as well lean into that childlike playfulness when we can. Dance like
about
everyone's
it.
watching.
Like when you go to a concert or something, that person that comes out when you hear the music you love and that's who you are. That's who you are. That's it right there. And it's like, instead of just going into work and being like, God, I hate my job. Change it. Do something different. Give it a try. You got nothing to lose, man. You got nothing to lose. I mean, how would you feel if you got told the news that you got 5 minutes to live? It can happen to all of us. And spoiler alert, it's going to happen to all of us.
Yeah, none of us are immortal yet, so it's coming for all of us.
So enjoy, let that person flip you off on the freeway. Let them do them and be them. There's no sense in swerving your car at somebody. There's no sense in, ending your life or your career or anything for a split decision. I feel like we've all been there and we all continue to go there to that spot of, is it worth it anymore? It happens to all of us. And I'd say the best thing to do is just reach out to the ones you love or reach out to a perfect stranger. It's like, you never know. Like the ones you love might be the ones that are helping you stay there, So find somebody that, maybe your favorite school teacher, who knows? Say, I got to talk to you because I'm at wit's end and I'm not sure what to do from here. My brother just had that conversation with me a couple days ago. I was in my shit like nobody's business. I was hurting. I had a headache. What am I doing? And he said, you are doing enough. He said, you've got 2 wonderful kids, you got a wonderful wife, you got a nice house, you do what you want to do for a living, and you're creating new things all the time. And you're always looking for the next step. You are winning. You are doing enough. And I just was like, man, thank you so much for telling me that. I needed to freaking hear that right now. And it was simple. And if we tell that to our friends and our loved ones and our hated ones, that could change the world too.
Yeah, it certainly can. Well, this ended up being absolutely delightful. Thank you so much. I think there are so many things that people have gotten out of this to really feel enriched and hopefully treat others a little bit differently, maybe see themselves and their lives a little bit differently. So thank you for being so open and so vulnerable and inviting in all of the dynamics that came along the way and all of the tangents. This is a really rich conversation, so thank you.
It was a very good conversation because I don't even know how long it was. I got lost in it, so that's proof.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
so
awesome.
That's proof. So, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Special thank you goes out to Sparta Media Group for producing this podcast ever so fantastically. So thank you to Jesse and his team. And an additional special thank you goes out to my sweet and talented husband, DJ Richardson, for creating the music that is used in this production. Thank you so much, so deeply for spending your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I hope that you found this to be a tremendously valuable use of your time and your capacity, and that this might help you to create greater connection and compassion in the spaces all around you.
These like chalk
What is
markers.
that thing called?
Slate.
A slate?
Yeah, just a slate.
Oh, so then is that where the term blank slate comes from?
Well, I think slates were around before that. I think they just, because I'm pretty sure they used to like anything they tally on used to be a slate. So yes, it's actually a blank one.
Yeah.
Be a blank slate. All right, you want to hold that dead center? Let's see. We hit everything? Yes, we are. Okay, give it a call.
All right, this is Nexus of Narratives, and I'm still with Jonny, and this is part 2, take 1, so it's 2 of 2.
All right.
Is that part of it, or does that get taken out?
That gets, I mean, I did
You
put
keep
one
them.
of them. I keep
Yeah.
it. There was one that I put it actually at the very end when just the music was playing, like after everything was done, that I put it in there. So yeah, when we were here on day 1, I was like, oh, this is a real thing. Like people actually use these. Okay. So I was educated.
Just check one thing. Yep, that's good. Okay.
Good to go?
And we're off.
All right. The part 2 of 2. For us, just a couple of moments later, but
More relaxed.